Geoffrey Ruko, Member of Parliament, Berer North. We shall be joined as well by Dr. Makali Muli, who is Member of Parliament, Kitui Central, and as well Hilary Sigay, who is a Senator from Bomet. So we have a full-packed show this morning, but let's see how the weather will be. They say whatever the weather, we will weather the weather. Right, this is what you're waking up to on the front page of The Standard today. As Ruto flies to meet Biden, you have your ellipsis there, or the alama ya dukuduku, and it says Kenyans face gangs of Haiti. Two different missions. President Ruto jetted out of the country yesterday and is expected to cut trade deals in the US and raise his profile. But in a few days, police officers will fly to Haiti to rein in lawlessness. A move opposed by many, and you have this story well covered for you on page 4 and 5 of The Standard today. 200, that is the number of specialized officers, will form the first batch that leaves the country this week for the Caribbean. And of course, also, you know, there is a court case or petition there by the leader of the Third Alliance Party. This is Dr. Ekuru Court. If that will also scaffold this process is yet to be seen. But this is a copy of The Standard headlining this story. You can read all about it inside the publication today. Do not belittle DP. Mount Kenya leaders tell Ruto respect. The leaders say enough is enough. On the humiliation Rigathi Gachagua has suffered in government and warn off there are many options. They're warning of there are many options as well. And you have the story on page 10 of The Standard today. Also get all the wiser as far as Health and Science magazine is concerned. This machine helps keep my child alive and you can read all about it inside today's publication. What machine this is, all tucked away inside the Pullard magazine. Nakuru, a ticking bomb as huge cracks emerge. It's all about the fissures that now emerging there. Geologists have been sent to study what is happening in the rift. And you have a story on page 8 of the Standard today. Presidential chopper in Iran crashes. And you can follow the story on page 23. We shall give you also the gritty details of this morning. Wealth prop rattles KRA officials. This is on business pages of the Standard today. Arsenal came but failed to conquer. You have a story on page 32. And you know, Man City scooped that particular title yesterday. This is the Daily Nation. Ruto starts U.S. state visit. That is the story. It's all about diplomacy. President will have various engagements in 4-day visit on trade deals. Let's try and zoom in so we can follow what is here together. Trade deals. President Ruto's itinerary in the U.S. will outline the 6-decade partnership between the two countries and is expected to attract a number of deals. Also on Haiti mission being led by Kenya and whose deployment is set to take place soon is also expected to be discussed, and also health focus at the U.S. Center for Disease Control. The head of state will be seeking to advance the core collaboration between KEMRI and CDC. That is just in a nutshell what this particular visit is all about. A very symbolic trip. President William Ruto has started his state visit to the United States, a trip that seeks to further strengthen diplomatic and trade ties between the two nations. In his message or in his meetings with the U.S. President Joe Biden, American politicians and business leaders, the head of state is also expected to make a strong case for Nairobi as Africa's top and most strategic investment destination. You have a story on page 7 of the Daily Nation today on the sidebar. Let me go to the flagger, not really the flagger, but the teaser before we go to on the side. But Gachagua fights back. That is another story that is tucked away on page 4. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's allies have alleged a plot within the ruling coalition, that is Kenya Kwanza, to undermine the DP's authority, vowing to defend him. Elected representatives in the national and county assemblies have from various parts of the country, that is Mount Kenya region, I should say, said yesterday that they will not allow the DP to be treated as President William Ruto was when he was Uhuru Kenyatta's deputy. They had accompanied Mr. Gachagua, who resurfaced after several days of absence from the public limelight to a church fundraiser in Nyeri County. The story is on page 4 of the Daily Nation. It's 4 in a row. Man City makes history in Premier League win, right? They are on a winning trot there, and you can follow the story on page 4, having won this title 4 times in a row. That is all tucked away on page 4 of the Daily Nation. On politics, 2022 poll losers now eye key seats in UDA polls. Some of the 2022 poll losers who defected from their parties to join President William Ruto's United Democratic Alliance have entered the battle for key party positions. With an eye on the 2027 general elections, you have a story on page 5. On Matters Academia, look into the issues raised by striking JSS teachers. State urged as a nationwide boycott staged by the 46,000 junior secondary school intern teachers enters its second week today. Unions have rallied behind the teachers while calling on the government to find an amicable way out of the stalemate. And also, President's palace hit in foiled DRC coup attempt. The army in the Democratic Republic of Congo foiled an attempted coup after gunmen tried to attack homes of senior government officials, including that of President Felix Tshisekedi. And you have a story on page 18 of the Daily Nation this morning. Let's pull up the Star, which is headlining the story of President Ruto and the key mission in historic U.S. trip. Make a strong case for Kenya as an investment destination. Golden opportunity. The tour is poised to be a turning point for Kenya, and you can read all the rest of the gritty details on page 2. And also we have a related picture here. Keeping the promise, President William Ruto, 4-year-old Tinsley Nduta and her parents Agnes Warimo and George Ngugi at State House Nairobi yesterday. And on the sidebar, you should not stab a brother in the back, says Gachagua. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's Mount Kenya backers now want President William Ruto to rein in his allies from the region, trying to create a wedge between the two. They said there is a plot to isolate the DP from his boss. The story is on page 6. Also, senators invite EACC to probe Bashiri issuing in Machakos County. Senators want the anti-graft agency to probe Bashiri distribution in Machakos County. This is after zeros were allegedly added to Bashiri checks to benefit select students. And it says this matter is a clear case of fraud. This is what Vihiga Senator Godfrey Osotsi said. And you have the story on page 8 of the Star today. And on top, lethargy hits implementation of Boma's peace deal report. This is on page 4 and 5 on Inside the Star today. No commitment at all. People Daily, leave me alone, cries Gachagua. Leave me alone. And the siege after missing in action and Asabic attacks during Limuru meeting of Mount Kenya leaders. David crawls out of the woodworks with allies claiming that he is being fought. And he says, quote unquote, those elected should be allowed to do their work and execute their respective mandates. People should concentrate on the work. And that story is well fleshed out for you on page 4 of the People Daily. Man City win record 4th EPL title in a row. And you can see them in a celebratory mode yesterday. English Premier League champions Man City make history by winning it 4 times in a row as Arsenal settles for second place, with both sides winning their final games of the season yesterday. All that also you have it in the sports pages of the People Daily today. Alama's polio vaccines disappear from shelves, right? This is on page 6 of the People Daily. Tutakufa na Rigathi. That is what Mount Kenya is saying. Wandani wa naibu rais watoa onyo kwa yeyote anayepanga njama za kumaliza kisiasa. Katika kikao cha Nyeri jana, wanasiasa kutoka ukanda wa mlima walijitokeza wazi washambulia watu wanao mvuruga kisiasa naibu wa rais. And you have a story on page 2 of Taifa Leo today. Kama mbaya tutakubali mmoja wetu ambaye ni Gachagua kusulubiwa. This is what Governor Mutahi Kahiga said. Also mbunge Jen Kihara, sisi ndio tuliweka serikali hii ofisini. Tulimpa rais hakikisho kuwa tutamtema Uhuru. Hatutaki kuona haya ya sasa. And then we have mbunge James Gakuya saying kuna dalili za mlima kwe Kenya kuletewa vita kutoka nje. Yeyote anayesema anataka mabadiliko ya kizazi katika uongozi ni adui yetu. And you have that story inside Taifa Leo this morning. Let's back down to some business where Safaricom condition throws M-Pesa split push into a spin. Split to be only considered if it adds value to investors. Telco's board yet to approve hive of despite CBK push. And you can see how the shares are here. M-Pesa accounts for more than 40% of Telco's revenue. That is 44% and 25% on voice, 4% messaging, 3% other mobile services, 3% mobile income, and 21% mobile data. If it doesn't add value to customer or investors, then we will not go that direction. At the moment, no decision has been made in terms of breaking, and there is no pressure from any source in terms of splitting. That is what Safaricom CEO Peter Ndegwa said. And you have a story on page 2 of the publication today. And private sector credit growth drops to a 28-month low. Growth in private sector credit slumped to a 28-month low of 7.9% in March as commercial banks reduced lending amidst rising borrowing costs and loan defaults. That story on page 2 of the publication today. Aging staff crisis hits NSSF. 62% now above 50. More than 61.8% of National Social Security Fund employees have hit 50 and above after years without recruitment of workers below 30 years, posing a succession nightmare at the institution. Watchdog warns of terror financing threat in regional banks. That is what FRC's warning. And you can follow the story on page 5. And new levy leaves UK mining farm stranded with 8 billion shillings iron ore. That is on page 6 of the publication this morning. In Tanzania, Bank of Tanzania governor adamant on lifting CEO bank term limits. Retired Prime Minister Frederick Sumaye said at the weekend that the decision to limit the tenure of commercial bank CEOs and board members to 10 years should not apply to best performing lenders, but BOT Governor Emmanuel Tutuba is of the view that the decision has more benefits than disadvantages. And you can read some of his sentiments there inside the publication today. What $60 million extra capital for glass company means, that is 100 the number of customers. Dar es Salaam-based Kio Limited currently serves in 17 countries, with most of them being involved in the manufacture of beverages. And Tanzanian makeup artist making waves in Hollywood. You can read all about her on page 4 of the publication today. Finance Ministry touts success of water green bond is on page 3 of today's publication. And Tanzania's top techpreneurs, or that is inside the publication. Safari Wallet redefining travel experience for Tanzanians. And you can read the rest of the details inside the publication today. Mpuga Bobby Rift splits supporters. That is what we have in Uganda. Rocking the boat. Two factions of National Unity Platform party leaders traded verbal attacks in Masaka, with a group backing Matthias Mpuga declaring they can't withstand disrespect anymore and have now withdrawn their allegiance from party leader Robert Shangulanyi, aka Bobby Wine. And CS Villa end 2-decade wait for league title. You can read all about it inside the publication today. Manchester City win English Premier League with title again on page 40. And Uganda migrant gets scholarship into 122 colleges in US. All that inside the publication. In Rwanda, tougher penalties await errant miners in proposed mining bill. Rwanda's mineral export revenue rose by 43% to more than $1.1 billion in 2023. That story continues on page 3 of the New Times. And PSD approves 67 candidates for parliamentary elections. And you can see the Social Democratic Party President Vincent Biruta addressing members of the party as Vice President Valens Mahakwa and Veneranda Nyarihirwa looking on during a political bureau meeting on Sunday. And PSD has approved a list of 67 candidates during the July general election. You can follow the story inside the publication today. And the East African this week, China back as Kenya-Uganda SGR financier. CS Kipchumba Murkomen says they have secured commitment from the Exim Bank. The partners want more loans to take the line to DRC. We just hope this will not be bloated, as we saw before with the SGR here compared to other regions or to other countries like Ethiopia. 6 billion shillings, the estimated amount each state needs for the extension of a line in their territories. $6 billion. And you can see a train carries containerized cargo passing from the port of Mombasa on October the 1st. Kenya and Uganda have mobilized Rwanda, South Sudan and DR Congo to source funding to extend the standard gauge railway to the Great Lakes region. Now this will be of great, exceedingly beneficial value for the country, since we've always been hoping for this to happen, and finally this is coming to light. USDRC to go slow on Israeli mining mogul, Treasury Department, and Kinshasa Mal limited easing of sanctions on Dan Gatsla to facilitate his Congo exit. And Museveni Ruto seek review of Somalia force exit. They say the mission's troop drawdown plan must align with security situation on the ground and not create a vacuum. And you know, UNSOM and Amitas as well, they are exiting from Somalia, but now questions are being raised regarding the readiness of Somali government to handle the Al-Shabaab or the security in the country, and what does that really portend also for the region as well. The women in Tanzania's main political parties are also tucked away inside the publication, and you can read the rest of the gritty details inside this week's publication of the East African. In China, Chinese tech to light up homes in South Africa. Renewable energy plant nearly ready to help ease power shortage in 200,000 households. That is what the publication is carrying out today. And also principles matter to address Taiwan question. And also we can see pro-Palestinian students of University of Michigan and their supporters protest on Saturday on the streets of Dearborn, Michigan, the United States. and children also wait in line for hours to receive meals distributed by the charity organization in the city of Deir al-Balah, Gaza on Saturday. Just highlighting what is happening in the Middle East right now. You can read the rest of the details there on the global edition of the China Daily today. And The Economist this week: is America dictator-proof? That is a probing question. Is America dictator-proof? And that is what the publication is carrying out this week. An American startup boom, China, Russia, and the gray zone, the PJP's power vacuum, economists, and God. That story on page inside, I should say, the publication of the latest copy of The Economist. Newsweek: battle scars, what the Ukraine war has taught us about post-traumatic PTSD. Can't remember what it really highlights. It's not coming through my mind right now. Post-traumatic stress disorder, it should be. And millennials want a 4-day week. Millennial wants a 4-day week, right? That is what they're gagging for right now. This is the latest publication of the Newsweek and Time magazine. If he wins, if this guy wins, what happens? That is what it is insinuating. But people are saying when he wins, it's not a matter of if, but when. Is that so? But you can see the polls saying that they are neck and neck with President Biden as it stands. Right, you can grab a copy of the copies of this publications today to get all the wiser as far as politics, economy, and also social development is happening in the country and the entire region as well. This is the Standard. Allow me now to introduce our panelists, to hear the voice of Dr. Makali Muli, to hear the voice of also Richard Onyonka, and also to hear the voice of Geoffrey Ruku as well. Onyonka, good morning, good to see you.
Good morning, good morning.
I like the cut of your Kaunda suit.
You know, Dibal, I have a complaint to make. Even
you have a complaint to make.
Dr. Makali will agree with me. I was the first politician who used to dress like this.
That's true.
Then President William Ruto stole my property. He has not compensated me.
No. But the question is, did you trademark it?
The problem was, me, I assumed,
this is the ignorance of Kenyans.
It was gentleman's agreement. Now the president has taken over. I'm struggling with it now.
You see, the president is also all the wiser. Mambo ni matatu. Yeah, you have it. You have it also trademarked, yes. Now you, with your design, you never trademarked it?
No, good morning.
Good morning, good to see you.
Honorable Ruku, I'm happy to see you. Dr. Makali, thank you. I've been missing for a while.
Yeah, sure.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
But I'll be on the show
Makali,
every Monday. I'll be here. Because I respect this gentleman. I think it would make a very good team. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Let's hear from Dr. Makali.
Yeah, thank you, Dima.
And this lapel badge there, what is it about?
It's just Africa. It's Africa map.
I know it's Africa, but representing what? What association?
Yeah. No, this is just I got it from one of the meetings I attend. You know, we attend so many meetings.
Yeah.
And in the process, you get some of these things. So it's a good morning to see my colleagues and to see you, Dima.
Thank you.
At least now the rains have a bit reduced.
Subsided.
Yeah, they're not.
But the weatherman is warning. Yes, we still have.
The weatherman is warning that this week we might still get more rains. But we are here. We are here to discuss the issues. Looking at what you have taken us through, very rich menu in terms of discussion.
Yes.
So, I hope you lead us to what you want us to discuss.
Indeed.
This week I didn't make it to Kitui. I was in the coast. I had gone to participate in public participation for our 2024-2025 budget estimates. So we had gone to Mombasa County and the Kilifi County. And then time you listen to Kenyans, the bow, you'll be surprised to what extent they have so much information about their needs that you wonder why we never factor in their needs into our budgets. It's like they know everything they want to done for them. But in most cases, you find the budgets really never narrow the issues to what the common man wants.
Exactly.
We end up funding things which I think will benefit them more than what they think themselves. So it was a successful mission. we have whatever they propose to find itself into the budget.
Yes.
So that we have our people. Others, we are here.
Indeed. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. I just wanted to highlight that also information coming to hand right now is that Iranian President Raisi is feared dead as helicopter wreckage is found. Hopes are fading that Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and his foreign minister have survived a helicopter crash in mountainous terrain and icy weather. An Iranian official said on today after such team located the wreckage and President Raisi's helicopter was completely burned in the crash. Unfortunately, all passengers are feared dead. That is what officials told Reuters. Rescue teams fought blizzards and difficult terrain throughout the night to reach the wreckage in East Azerbaijan province in the early hours of today. And with the discovery of the crash site, no sign of life have been detected among the helicopter's passengers. Raisi, who was 63, was elected president in 2021 and since taking office has ordered a tightening of morality laws, overseeing a bloody crackdown on anti-government protests and pushed hard in nuclear talks with world powers. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who holds ultimate power with the final say on foreign policy and Iran's nuclear program, had earlier sought to reassure Iranians, saying there will be no disruption to state affairs. And of course, we shall be keeping you posted on this as well. What we know so far is that also a Turkish drone identified a source of heat suspected to be the helicopter's wreckage early today and had shared the coordinates of the possible crash site with Iranian authorities. Anadolu News also agency said this on X. State news agencies IRNA said Raisi was flying in a US-made Bell 220 helicopter. The chief of staff of Iran's army ordered all resources of the army and the elite Revolutionary Guards to be put to use in search and rescue operations. That is the latest right now, that Iranian President Raisi is feared dead as the helicopter wreckage is found. We shall give you more details of this, of course, in the course of the program and also in our subsequent bulletins today. Right, let's just hear from Honorable Ruku. Good morning, and thank you for joining us as well.
Good morning, Dapa.
Are you fresh from Limuru 3?
No,
Or fresh from Nyeri? We need to get the coordinates.
This politics is sweet.
From Nyeri.
I'm loving it. I've just seen DP Gachagua crying, you know. I'm like, oh my God, it's repeating itself.
History.
He's been crying. He's been crying.
Unless they're living in North Kenya, that we are in. No one is crying.
But of course, he's not talking about the literal cry. I know for Hillary
Deputy President did not even speak about
You
He
don't
doesn't
have
speak
to
about
speak
it.
to cry. Sometimes you see the tears. You don't hear the
But
sound.
who is fooling whom? Right? Who
You're
is
making-
fooling whom?
you're
That's the
making it-
question, because State House was yesterday, of course, with the spokesperson saying all is okidori as far as, you know, the relationship between the Deputy President and the President is concerned. But we have also a different tone and tenor coming from Nyeri.
I was
Nyeri.
I was
He
in Nyeri,
spoke. I saw him. He spoke.
So if there is the right person to talk about Nyeri is myself, because I was in Nyeri, and the church function was very good. Although I was surprised that that function was there and almost, by all media houses live. So I don't know what they were expecting.
All right, let's just find an excerpt of that as well.
What was...
Yeah, we run the story, then we try and see if you'll see your face to
No,
confirm
he
if
just
you're there.
reported he was in Meru. Can you give us the
It was in
juice?
Nyeri.
Nyeri. Give us the juice.
Okay.
There's nothing to. There are no. It's just speculation of Kenyans.
There's nothing there.
Kenyans, and especially politicians, they always like discord.
Yes.
Discord to many of us politicians and quite majority of Kenyans, they thrive in discord. And I think Senator is one of those guys, people who thrive in discord.
Yes, Honorable Ruto. I am just surprised, very interested. Political events are taking place in this country that are really interesting because it's like the same template It's like we're repeating the same mess over and over again. That's why I'm laughing at me. I'm actually not even enjoying in the Discord. I'm just laughing at we as Kenyans. Look at how we behave every 5 years.
All right. Let's hear from Hillary before we run the story. Good morning. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Dibal.
Yeah.
Good to see also my colleagues here. What has interested me, in fact, for starters, is the fact that my brother, neighbor, Senator Nyonka here, is very excited about non-news at all. Why? Because you know he's not even given the opportunity to be the person who was present in Nyeri to comment about that bit. And he's behaving. I would call my former principal in high school, deputy principal, a very good man. He used to tell us that you boys are very incorrigible. I don't want to say that again, but I'm saying he's enjoying it when it is not news to enjoy. Because there's no news in the first place. But I'm happy that we began the week.
It depends. It depends what side of the tracks he is.
Yeah,
it depends what side of the tracks you are.
Now he's interpreting my enjoyment for me.
I want to do it because it will misrepresent issues for the people of Kenya who are watching this very important
Have I accused
cause.
anybody?
Not at all.
I am
I'm
just saying, I'm watching the events and they are fascinating.
But I'm saying, Onyonka, let us have it a conversation when it befits that conversation. But for now, I'm happy that we've begun the week. We actually should be thinking about how the visit by the President to the United States of America will help us as Kenyans to progress beyond just a visit. You know, this is one of those visits that has never happened. And the reception of the President, from what we receive from the people involved, is that of a state which will not just be a mere reception. We expect a lot out of this visit. And so, even as we still struggle with the issue about the heavy rains, the havoc, the disaster that has been, we should also look at the positive aspects of now the life that we have as of today, a bit about the tax bill, which is one of the conversations I believe we're going to deal with here. And above all, definitely, as I would ask the rest of Kenyans, let's be positive about what happens now, tomorrow, and in the future.
Indeed.
I'm happy to be here so that we can engage
Thrash out these matters, yes.
on those issues.
Thank you very much. Now, for the first time in 7 days, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua made a public appearance after missing out on key state functions. The absence of the second in command had raised speculations with claims of differences between him and his boss, the president. Making rounds on Sunday, the DP was in Nyeri County, where he presided over a fundraiser at Sacred Heart Edarasha Catholic Church. The DP advocated regional unity, calling out those spearheading division in the region. Clement Pasomo starts us off.
After technically missing for 1 week, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua made his first public appearance in 7 days on Sunday when he attended a church service at Sacred Heart and Edarasha Catholic Church, where he presided over a fundraiser. Already, there were speculations of a rift between the DP and President William Ruto.
But for now, 2024, 2025, up to 2026 June,
Gachagua accused a section of political leaders from Mount Kenya region of being used to divide a region that was solidly united during the 2022 general elections. He said those speaking are only amplifiers working for their masters who are seated quietly following the proceedings.
Mundu dakanoe kahiu ugathesha muru wa nyina mugongo. Mundu dakana igwire mwari wa nyina uyu tondu ni ahikio ni muthuri mutongu. Ni amenye ku mwari wa nyina ahika utongu no one kindu angiria. Katiguo ni tutige kurwa, ni twendane, ni tuiguanire tha kamuige koyaga ndiri nyumba ino itu rekei twendane rekei tucirage kimwe na warore marauganiriria waigua kanua kau ni waigua biu tio mararia kau no kayu ni nyamu itagwo amplifier mwario ni ungi ukahuthirwo tutigetikire gutuika ati mundu wa gitaro giki no ahuthike kuhuruja nyumba yitu twanyitana twendane tulikoragwo na hinya.
Na ni vizuri tuseme hapa, rais wetu aliye rais sasa akiwa deputy president alifanyiwa mambo ambao tunasema ni ya unyama. Alikosewa heshima, akanyimwa magari, akanyimwa mambo mengi.
Kwa sababu tusikubali na tusije tukawa kule kwingine kumenyamaza dunia ya Kenya. Kwani kuna interest gani hapa mlima? Tuko mwaka moja na nusu, alafu tunaona dalili ya maneno.
Other leaders accompanying the DP said they will not sit and watch him disrespected, as was the case during the previous regime, where President William Ruto, then serving as the DP, was undermined by other government officials.
Kama mbaya, but he will not be taken through that. Hatutaruhusu. He will not be taken through that. Hakupewa kiti na mtu, alingangania. Na hicho kiti kura tulizozipiga ndizo zilimpa deputy president. And he is not a deputy president by default. Ni mpango wetu na yeye ndiye ameshikilia mlima. So, ningetaka nitangaze nikiwa hapa kwa kanisa. Madharau yoyote kwa Rigathi Gachagua ni madharau ya mlima. Kweli uongo?
Kuna wengine walisema hii Muthegi haijapeanwa. Ati bado kuna mtu ambaye ndiye ameshikilia Muthegi. Na mimi nauliza, ile kazi tulienda pale Kasarani baada ya uchaguzi, rais mstaafu akapea rais huyu ako hapa. Sasa ni Muthegi gani, na wewe ndiwe deputy yake, ni Muthegi gani ingine unahitaji upewe?
Not absconded his duties. He has been a hard worker. Kazi ya kahawa na majani umepewa, umeifanya, na vile umefanya kazi yako, hata yetu tutaifanya usiku na mchana mpaka tuhakikishe Mount Kenya has come to birth. Let me hear an amen.
However, politics about the 2024 finance bill also dominated the talks, with a section of leaders calling for amendments of certain clauses.
Ukiona mtu ambaye amekuwa MP one term, then the next dispensation anakuwa deputy president, huyo ni mtoto ya Mungu.
Hii finance bill, nataka niulize viongozi ndugu ambao tumeongea hapa, tukirudi bunge turekebisha hiyo mambo. Tunajua tunatakana kukusanya ushuru, tusanye ushuru.
Clement Masombo, KTN News, County ya Nyeri.
William Ruto has jetted out of the country for a state visit in the United States of America. According to State House, the visit is key to bolstering cooperation in trade and investment, technological innovation, climate and clean energy, health and security between the two nations. Among the issues set to come up is the extension of African Growth and Opportunity Act that sets the framework for access of African goods in the US market that expires next year. Jeff Kiru has more.
On Monday, President William Ruto makes his first state visit to the United States of America, making him the first African president in Joe Biden's regime.
It demonstrates a robust partnership between Kenya and the United States, and is a fitting tribute to 60 years of diplomatic ties that we are celebrating as Kenya and the United States. During this period, Kenya and the United States have enjoyed deepening and mutually beneficial cooperation at bilateral and multilateral levels, resulting in the elevation of the relationship in 2018 to a strategic partnership.
This state visit signifies a deepening in the relationship between the United States and Kenya, and the areas of partnership, particularly in the peace and security area, will be one of the major areas of focus.
And as Ruto pushes for economic and diplomatic ties with the US, the visit will present an opportunity to push for extension of African Growth and Opportunity Act through an address to the Congress on Wednesday.
There will be huge emphasis on trade and investment. And in particular in the area of trade, as you know, the AGOA framework that has facilitated commodities from the continent to access US market quota-free and on preferential terms is lapsing next year. It is important that that framework be extended or be amended in a way that facilitates expansion of access to the US market by African commodities.
In urging Congress to be cognizant of the need for African goods to continue accessing the US markets on preferential basis, the President will implore Congress to extend the Africa Growth and Opportunities Act, better known as AGOA.
During the visit, President Ruto is expected to continue his relentless push for the reforms and restructuring of foreign debt and an all-inclusive global financial management system.
It is important for the world to come together around providing a much more enabling lending framework, not just for Kenya, but for the entire continent that is in dire debt distress. And so this is a conversation that will feature in the bilateral conversation with President Ruto, but certainly on the sides as well. It is very likely that the President will also engage with the IMF.
The trip coming at a time when the US has grown increasingly reliant on Kenya as its main security, diplomatic and economic partner in the Horn of Africa. President Ruto, since assuming office, has positioned himself and Kenya as one of Africa's leading voices on trade, security, climate and financial matters. Jeff Kirui, KTN News.
No, nearly 2/3 of public universities face imminent collapse due to unsustainable debt levels, with the cumulative debt burden across all institutions reaching a staggering 76 billion shillings. This emerged during a presentation by Higher Education Principal Secretary Beatrice Nyangala before the National Assembly Committee on Education. Pension defaults, unpaid bills and unremitted deductions are compounding the woes. Alarmingly, the government proposes to cut funding for government-sponsored students. And Musungu has more.
A document tabled before the National Assembly Committee on Education reveals that the University of Nairobi accounts for the lion's share of debt, lumping up 18 billion. This is followed by Technical University of Kenya, owing 10.3 billion, Egerton University coming third at 10.3 billion, Kenyatta and JKUAT following at 8.8 billion.
Already, 23 of our 40 universities are declared technically insolvent. With this variance, and the heavy deductions in the budget, it means that more universities will become insolvent.
Stems from defaulted pension pays, insurance premiums, and statutory deductions, unpaid supplier bills, unremitted employee deductions, and outstanding part-time lecturer payments further compound the university's severe financial distress. However, the situation for the institution is set to worsen as the government proposes to reduce funding for government-sponsored students in public universities, posing an even greater threat to their future viability.
There is a further decline in funding of continuing students, where we'll be moving from 42% of the differentiated use of cost of the program to 30%.
Moi University of Nairobi, Egerton and Kabianga will not receive any funding for continuing students, dealing a devastating blow to their already precarious financial status.
For universities, Moi, Eldoret, Kabianga, Nairobi, as I indicated, having nil allocation, there are two critical risks. The first one is that this contravenes the principle of equal treatment of universities and the students. And the second is that the students who are not funded may drop out of their respective universities.
Crippled by enormous debt burdens and looming funding reductions, public university capacity to deliver high-quality education and sustain their operations stands gravely threatened. Anne Musungu, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right, and those are the stories right now. We just want to buckle down to discuss with our panelists before we take a short break right now. And we'll just want to hear just the feel and flavor from each of you before we take a short break. We'll begin with you, Richard Onyonka.
In fact, Dibal, what we were just been sort of engaging in is that I think in our country we just need to be a little bit more serious. You see, if you go back to about, I think it was 8 years ago, there was a report which was actually done, I can't remember by who, and it basically said, we cannot afford to have 50 universities in Kenya. All right? And all that we were required to do at that time is to create regional universities, which means we take the old provinces the way they were. There was Central, Nairobi, Eastern, Coast, Northeastern, then, we had Western, we had Nyanza,
Yes.
and just create, even if the universities per se, the physical infrastructure, you find that there, for example, Kisii University campus is in Kisii, yes. But we can have a university which is basically a regional Nyanza university where the students who go to Kisii cannot move out.
Yes.
But so that we can make these universities sustainable. The problem is we keep on repeating the same mistakes. We keep on not solving the problems that we need to solve. I mean, right now, universities are owing 79 billion shillings. You have got unpaid bills, pending bills, to the tune of something like 300 billion, amongst all our county governments. You look at the national government itself, look at our debt. So the feeling I've started having is that I think women and men of good faith need to sit down and begin to realize that actually some of the challenges that face our countries can be resolved. That's all these things have got solutions. But we keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over. I mean, it's another thing we've just been, I was laughing, I'm saying, when I look at the newspapers and see how much effort Museveni is putting down as fighting for integration within the East African region, it's like he's fast forwarded something that stopped 15 years ago. Actually now people are beginning to say, you mean SGR now is going to go all the way to Congo? Oh, Tanzania is coming on board, yes. Oh, you mean South Sudan, Ethiopia? They're all becoming members of ESC. Museveni was here the other day. He was here the other month. So something is beginning to happen. And it was discussed those days, how we needed to integrate politically, financially, economically, how we needed to come up with a structure on how we are going to deal with property in the East African region. Remember, we've been having issues with Tanzania and about how much a Kenyan can own there. Those things can be discussed. I mean, Africa is so big, and yet we keep, drive from Namanga here, drive to Arusha. Look at that territory. You see the land going on and we can feed ourselves and we can do great things in our continent. And yet in reality, somehow we never just get seized of it. But I also think a good story is the visit by President Ruto to the US. I really hope that his people have sat and talked with him, and they have already did a negotiated agreement on several issues, whether it's on trade, education, technology, and all that with the US government, because those visits mean nothing if the president doesn't come with anything. This is a state visit. Like, I remember that is how AGOA started. I can't remember who our president was, but then the president who was then negotiated AGOA, and it was a big thing at that time, allowing Kenya to export its goods to the US tax-free, duty-free, without restrictions. So I hope the president will come up with something. I mean, you have got Konza City, which is supposed to be a techno city. I think he can negotiate that with the Americans very easily. Issues of security, defense, and all that, these other things. And like I saw the clip saying there's a likelihood that he's going to meet the IMF and the World Bank. And that's where those things are negotiated. So I really hope that he'll come back with something, not much, but something that will be worth the visit.
Right, I think it's ticking up to 7 o'clock right now, just 4 minutes shy. We want to take a short break. When we come back, of course, also we need to be amplified. As we said, there is amplifier. And Honorable Ruku can break for us what Mudegi is. Some of the things that went way over my head. There was the Mudegi. Mudegi has been dropped. What is Mudegi? And of course, the Mount Kenya politics of tech center stage, as we discuss a lot of other issues as well. Also looking at the Finance Act 2024 that continues to, of course, draw a lot of debate. So we shall tease out some of the salient points or issues there that maybe you should be aware of? Remember,